Welcome to the Personal Finance Podcast. Today, we're going to be diving into the mind of Ray Dalio.
Oh, yeah.
This is a guy who built like the world's biggest hedge fund from scratch, right?
Yeah. From nothing.
And Dalio, he's seen it all when it comes to like the market's ups and downs, right?
Yeah.
And right now, he's waving a big red flag saying there's a storm coming, an economic storm.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting about this?
What's that?
Dalio, he isn't just like some chicken little running around, saying the sky is falling.
Right.
This is a guy, he's got a really deep understanding of economic cycles. Like he's been navigating these things successfully for decades.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
So when he talks, I think we should all listen up,
Yeah, exactly. So let's step into Dalio's world for a bit.
Okay.
He's ringing these alarm bells.
Yeah.
But what exactly does he see happening?
Well, at the heart of it,
Yeah.
at the core of Dalio's warning, it's this concept of debt. He argues that societies, we have this tendency more and more to pile up debt like crazy, like it's going out of style.
It's easy to do.
Governments, businesses, us as individuals, everybody's doing it. But here's the thing. This whole debt-fueled party,
Right.
it can't last forever.
Yeah, someone's going to pay the piper eventually.
Eventually, right?
Yeah.
The music stops, and that's when things can get a bit messy.
So we're all riding this debt-powered roller coaster, and Dalio's telling us to, buckle up.
Yeah. See, because when debt levels are low, borrowing, that's not always a bad thing.
Right.
It can be good. It fuels growth. People can invest, keeps the wheels turning.
It's like the grease.
But when debt gets out of control, that's when it turns into this huge anchor, weighs everything down.
Dragging us all down with it.
Exactly.
So how does this whole debt spiral thing actually work? What's the chain reaction he's worried about?
Okay, so imagine this.
Okay.
You're borrowing more and more money. But you're not even using it to invest or grow or anything like that. You're just using the new debt to pay off the old debt.
Just to stay afloat.
Exactly. You're
Yeah.
stuck. This vicious cycle, you need more and more debt just to keep your head above water. And that's when creditors, they start getting nervous.
Yeah, they don't want to lend to you anymore.
Exactly. Interest rates, they go up.
Which makes it even harder.
Right. And the economy, it just starts to sputter.
Like an old engine.
And people, businesses, nobody wants to take on more debt because it's just too expensive.
That's where Dalio's warning about the Federal Reserve comes in, right?
Yeah, this is a big one.
Yeah.
He's really concerned about the Fed, stepping in and just creating more money basically out of thin air to buy back bonds.
Which, it sounds good in theory.
It can provide a quick little boost, sure.
Yeah, there's always a but.
It's risky. The big risk here is inflation.
Inflation, right?
Think about it. You got all this extra money floating around, but you don't have more goods and services to buy.
Right, supply and demand.
What happens? Prices skyrocket. Suddenly, your money's not worth as much. That loaf of bread you used to buy, way more expensive. That's inflation eating away at your buying power,
Yeah, that's scary. And Dalio's saying this inflation,
He thinks it could get even worse, yeah.
especially with the next downturn,
With the next downturn, which he's predicting could be right around the corner.
it's a sobering thought.
It is a sobering thought.
So what do we do? What's the game plan here? How do we prepare for this potential economic storm?
Well, Dalio, he's a big believer in something he calls finding uncorrelated return streams.
Okay.
Now, I know that sounds kind of
A
complicated,
little jargony.
but it's actually pretty straightforward. Think of it like having a side hustle.
Okay, like a backup plan.
Exactly. Something that does well when your main job is maybe not doing so hot.
So if one income stream dips, the other one keeps you afloat.
You got it. It's all about diversifying. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, right?
All right, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's classic advice. But Dalio, he takes it a step further.
Oh, he does. He does.
He doesn't just stop there.
He does not.
So we're talking about spreading our investments, right?
Diversifying. Yeah.
Diversifying across different asset classes.
Exactly.
What kind of things is Dalio recommending we include in this mix?
Well, he's a big fan of gold.
Oh, gold. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, gold, it has this really interesting history of holding its value, especially when things get a little rocky, economically.
Like when the market's going crazy?
Exactly, like when markets go haywire. Dalio, he actually compares owning gold to having a get-out-of-jail-free card.
A get-out-of-jail-free card. I like that.
Right, because gold, it's a tangible asset. It's not tied to any specific government or currency. So
Which is kind of appealing when you think about it. If things really went south,
when those systems start looking shaky,
it's like that one friend you can always count on no matter what's happening.
that reliable friend, yeah. And then alongside gold, Dalio says consider those inflation-indexed bonds.
Okay, inflation-indexed bonds. Tell me more about those.
So these bonds, they're designed to kind of protect you against inflation, offer some stability if the value of the dollar takes a hit.
So gold and these inflation-indexed bonds.
Right.
Those are like two of the main pillars of Dalio's strategy here.
Yeah, for weathering that financial storm. But he doesn't stop there.
Oh, there's more.
He's got some interesting thoughts about other stuff, like alternative investments, especially when it comes to Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, yeah. Everyone's talking about Bitcoin.
Right, and his view on Bitcoin, it's interesting, it's nuanced.
Okay.
He gets it. You know, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, they can have a place, maybe, in a diversified portfolio.
Sure.
But he's also quick to point out the downsides.
Yeah, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right?
Exactly. He's not like a Bitcoin evangelist or anything.
Right.
He sees it as a much smaller market compared to, you know, the more established assets.
What do you mean?
Which means it can be really volatile.
Oh, yeah, it can go up and down like crazy.
Up and down, yeah, like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And he's not totally sold on the whole privacy thing.
Oh, really?
He argues that governments, they can still track transactions.
Even with Bitcoin?
Even with Bitcoin, and they can tax it.
So it's not as anonymous as people think.
That's what he's saying. So yeah, for Dalio, it seems like gold.
Yeah.
It's still the more reliable, that safe haven asset, even now with everything going digital.
Even in this day and age, huh?
Yeah.
So he sees gold as this timeless thing.
That's how he sees it.
It's endured for centuries.
Right. And it's not controlled by any single government.
Right. Which is kind of a big deal for him.
It gives it that autonomy, you know,
Yeah.
which really aligns with his whole philosophy.
Okay, so let's bring this home for our listeners, right?
Yeah.
Someone's listening right now feeling anxious about the economy.
They're worried.
Worried, yeah. They want to protect their money. What's the takeaway here? What does this all mean?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Look, I think what Dalio is trying to say is...
Be prepared.
Be prepared, okay?
It doesn't matter if the economy is about to totally collapse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's always smart to have a plan, right?
Always good to have a plan.
This means diversify. Look into those alternative assets like gold.
Mm-hmm.
And be mindful of your debt.
Mm.
Don't let debt drag you down.
Don't let it be that anchor.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's almost like he's built this system.
He has.
This, like, personal operating system.
Like a decision-making machine.
For making decisions.
Especially with money.
Yeah, when it comes to, like, the ups and downs of the market.
He's all about, like, taking the emotion out of it, you know?
Because that's usually what trips people up, right?
Emotions, yeah, they get in the way. Dalio believes if you have this, like, systematic, almost like an algorithm for making decisions, it leads to, you know, better results over time.
Makes sense. It's more consistent.
Right. Now, I know it might sound a little, I don't know.
A little rigid.
A little rigid, yeah, at first.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it.
You're faced with this really complex financial decision. Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, to have some guidance.
To have, like, a set of rules, you know, already there to guide you.
It's like that mental checklist.
Exactly.
Especially when you're freaking out.
Well, when the fear kicks in, yeah. You got to take a step back, silence that noise.
Avoid the monkey mind.
And tap into that more rational part of yourself, you know?
Be logical about it.
And this whole thing, this focus on principles, on systems.
Right.
It's not just for investing, for finance. Dalio, he applies this to everything.
Really? Like his whole life?
His work, his life, everything. It's like a framework for dealing with, you know, the messiness of life, that uncertainty.
It's funny how we started talking about, you know, economic crashes.
Right.
And gold.
Yeah.
And now we're getting all philosophical.
It's all connected.
Yeah, but decision-making and principles, it's pretty cool, actually.
It is. It shows how much he thinks about these things.
He's a big picture thinker.
He is, and he understands that, yeah, these macro trends, they matter.
Like the economy.
The economy, for sure.
But it's also about...
But it's also about us.
Our own minds.
How we operate.
How we deal with risk. How we learn.
It's all important.
It is.
This has been a really insightful deep dive, I think.
It has. It's been fun.
We've covered so much ground. You know, Dalio's warning about the economy.
Yeah.
Building a strong portfolio.
How to protect ourselves.
How to think about risk.
Even how our brains work.
Yeah, all this stuff. It's a lot to process, but I feel like...
Take it one step at a time.
Yeah, we've gained some valuable insights.
We have. And you know what? I think the biggest takeaway...
What's that?
...is that uncertainty is just part of the game.
That's life, right?
That's life, especially when it comes to money.
Yeah.
There will be ups, there will be downs.
Always.
But if we understand those risks, if we're prepared,
take action,
and we think long-term.
Right, play the long game. We can weather those storms.
We can handle it.
We got this.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So, there you have it.
Another deep dive.
A crash course in navigating the economic waters.
With Ray Dalio as our captain.
Exactly. With Ray Dalio as our guide. His insights they're a good reminder.
They are.
That a little bit of preparation, it goes a long way.
A little prep goes a long way.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.
For more tips and insights on personal finance, follow us and stay tuned for more episodes.
See you next time.